to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos. This block is called Chicago Geese, or I've also seen it called Geese on the Edge. It finishes at 12 inches, but you'll see you can make various different sizes just by only doing a few rows, or you can add more rows and make it bigger, and you'll see how. Here's the diagram. We're basically going to start with a square, and we're going to sew strips on the side and the top. Then we're going to stitch and flip this triangle in the corner. Then we'll just repeat it for each one. So the strip on the side and the top, stitch and flip. Side, top, stitch and flip, all the way. Here's what 4 blocks look like block to block, and these are going in opposite directions. And I have some more down here of quilts. These are going in this direction, these are going in this direction. These are just some that I found on Pinterest, and here they are making a big X. We have 6 patches, 6 different patches, and here are all the cutting diagrams here, and then one up here. If you're using AccuQuilt for patches A through E, which are all the strip pieces, they're all 2.5 inches wide. So you can use your strip cutter, your 2.5-inch strip cutter, and just cut off the segments that you need: 12.5, 10.5, 8.5, 6.5, 4.5. And use those for these strips right here. And then patch F is the square, the large square here. It is also the squares we're going to use for stitch and flip. And for AccuQuilt, I'm going to show you how you can use your die, your 4-inch finished half square triangle die, to use this as stitch and flip. And I'll show you the stitch and flip way as well. So here are all the cutting instructions for all the fabrics. These are just assorted backgrounds, and these are assorted accent fabrics. So the instructions show you how to put it together, but I will demonstrate that to you now. Here's a test block I made, and we're going to be making an almost identical block like this. It's really a fun block to make, and it goes really fast. And you can use up all of for these pieces here, you can use up your jelly roll scraps or cut your own 2.5-inch strips. Here are the patches A through E, all of these, and I've got them paired together as the rows will go on, and you'll see that. This is what I'm going to use for the square in the corner. And these I've cut with AccuQuilt. These are the 4-inch finished half square triangle die, and I put that on the list. So I've cut these 4, but I'm also going to show you how to use the stitch and flip method using a square with the diagonal line on the back. Okay, so let's get started on this. You'll take your square, and your first round you're going to stitch first on the side, press your seams, and for this we're going to be pressing our seams away from this center square, always away, one direction, not open. Sew this to the top and then press it outward as well. Okay, now we're ready to do stitch and flip up here in the corner. I'll show you the stitch and flip first. We've drawn our diagonal line on the back, so we'll just place it on the corner and match the corners and the sides as best you can. We're going to stitch just to the right side of this line. We want a little bit extra. That's like stitching a scant 1/4 inch. So start here, stitch just to the right side of this line. And here I've stitched it just to the right side of the line, and the reason we do this is when you flip this up, it gives you a little bit extra to make your edges over here straight and here straight. And this should give you a really good point. If you're not happy with it, then take that stitching out right there and move over. In this case, you might need to move over just a little bit more to the right to get that point, but to me, that's good. Now you'll take this, always check it before you cut it. So let's fold it back. Now let's trim a 1/4 inch away from the stitching line. And then we'll press this toward the corner. So there we have round 1. Now we're going to repeat round 2 and 3 and 4 the same way. Take your next set of patches, stitch the side first, press the seam out, and stitch the top and press the seam out. Now we're ready to stitch our next goose on the edge. This is the AccuQuilt, and I've cut a half square triangle. It cuts the nubs off, so you have blunt edges here. And we're going to just line up the edges, the top edge and this side edge, till they meet. You see this top is lined up and this side edge here is lined up. Now you want to check down here to make sure you're going to get 1/4 inch. So that's right about there, and that's pretty good. I'm going to also stitch a scant 1/4 inch on this one. So the guide on my presser foot is an exact 1/4 inch. Instead of putting it right next to this, I'm going to move it over to the right just slightly, and that will give me my scant 1/4 inch. Now we have it stitched, and before we cut it off, we're going to flip this up to make sure it lays right, and that looks good. So now we can trim this off about 1/4 inch away from the stitching, and then press this. Now you'll just continue this way until the block is finished. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos.